Yo, going to record a video going over a big issue currently with the marksmanship hunter design and the whole talent tree and everything else. I like the feedback that we've given so far. I like that the changes are still being made. But again, going to emphasize, here's an issue. So I mentioned in the past, there's an issue with button bloat, and there's an issue with currently we have the issue that inside true shot we're not spending our precise shots procs, and then if we have too many more buttons that we want to be pressing outside of true shot because we're getting so many extra buttons to be pressing, like additional kill shots, maybe above 100%. We're getting barrage or chakram or steel trap or explosive shot or volley or wailing arrow or whatever, all these different things, is that we might start ignoring precise shot stacks outside of true shot in addition to inside of true shot. And I think this is not a good design for the spec. So I've made that feedback before, whatever. This is a different piece of feedback, however, which is, what does your pre-pull I'm going to start a raid boss look like? So I threw up some potential talents here just for the sake of discussion, for the sake of demonstration. It's like mostly a single target build. Maybe it's not exactly perfect. Maybe there's some light cleave. Maybe, who knows? Whatever reason, let's say this was a talent build. It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's say it is. So what do we want to do before the boss? We want to pre-pull double tap. Nice. We have that button, we press that. We want to pre-pull aim shot. Okay, good. We're going to cast a long, hard-hitting spell, get it on cooldown immediately. It has a short cooldown. We want to start that recharge very soon so that we can get extra aim shot charges over the course of the fight. And sitting on this cooldown is a higher percentage loss than sitting on a longer cooldown, like something like barrage or explosive shot, which are 30-second cooldowns, because we lose the damage of this, but we only lose 1/30th of this damage, but we lose 1/12th of this damage by sitting on that cooldown for too long, right? Okay, cool. So now we're playing along at home, right? All right, what do we do after that? Pre-pull, double tap, pre-pull, aimed. Now, we would Serpent Sting if we don't have Serpent Stalker's Trickery, which we currently don't, but we could easily swap a talent somewhere and take Serpent Stalker's Trickery. Okay, so we can kind of ignore that line. That line is only maybe in certain scenarios where you don't have Serpent Stalker's Trickery. Maybe it's because it's mostly going to be an AoE boss, but it starts off single target. Okay, fine, sure. So we single target the boss maybe manually, maybe we don't. Maybe the aim shot did it for us, right? That's part of the reason why we're pre-pulling with aim shot. We want to get Serpent Sting upon the boss immediately. Okay, good job. Nice, good. All right, continuing. So then we're going to steady shot. And then we're going to steady shot a second time because we want to get steady focus up. We need our haste buff because this being up means we generate more aim shot charges because this is a haste, adjusted dependent cooldown thing. So the sooner we get haste buff going, the sooner we generate more aim shots. We like that. We want to generate more aim shots. That's why we started pre-pulling with the boss, right? Okay, cool. Then we're going to explosive shot or barrage. Probably explosive shot on single target. It's fire damage, because next we're going to chakram or steel trap. And if we do chakram, we want it to buff our damage. It's, I guess, not physical damage taken anymore, so we wouldn't necessarily need to explosive shot outside the window, but hopefully explosive shot gets buffed by going off the damage part when it's inside this window. So that's why we want an explosive shot before the chakram. Or this chakram could be steel trap or something instead. Maybe we lose a point somewhere, we gain an extra point somewhere, and we get steel trap instead. Okay, sure, whatever, cool, nice. Continuing on. So if we're counting at home, right? So we did our pre-pull buttons. We maybe had one button here, but this is first global, second global, third global, fourth global. Okay, so we're going to put a number 4 here. Let's keep going. Fifth global, we're going to rapid fire because we also need to get that cooldown ticking eventually, right? Okay, cool. Sixth global, well, we have spent quite a bit of time. We don't want to cap our aim shot charges, so let's make sure we spend an aim shot charge again. Okay, cool. All right. Seventh, we maybe generated another aim shot charge. Okay, maybe this isn't, 6 globals, that's a little bit too fast. Maybe we didn't generate a second aim shot charge in that time. All right, we'll cancel that one out. So here, we have volley. Maybe we want to get volley on cooldown. We know it's going to be 45 seconds before the AoE spawns on the boss, so we get volley on cooldown. All right, cool. So we're going to volley. And we maybe want to swap the order of this around, so maybe we would volley before the aimed, so that we get that going all within the the death chakram window. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go 7 aimed now instead. All right, sure, we're still following along, right? We're not thinking about this too hard. It's just the exact order doesn't necessarily matter, but we'll see. I'm already 7 globals into the boss yet. All right, I'm 7 globals in, plus the 2 that I get to precast. So then we now have spent actually 2 to 4 generated precise shots procs, so that's plus 2 to 4 additional globals. So now we're on either 9 through 11, right? Okay. So this is global 9 through 11. And then we have plus potential lock and load procs, so that's potential 10 to 12, right? You know, now, right? Plus the potential rapid fire reset from surging shots or lethal shots. So now we're up to 11 to 13 globals. Then we have any potential death blow kill shots, right? So maybe we got multiple lock and load procs. That's pretty unlikely. We'll just say one. We probably only get one death blow kill shot proc, right? Maybe we get two, but pretty unlikely. Okay, so we're up to 10 to 12 here, and then we're at 11 to 13 potential globals by here. And then we have Wailing Arrow. Actually, before this point, we definitely need to spend an aim shot, right? Before this point, so we want to spend aim shot. So now we're up to 12 to 14 globals. We aim shot. Then finally, on our 13 to 15th global of the boss, we can cast Wailing Arrow. And you know what Wailing Arrow does now? If I had this talent instead, is Wailing Arrow resets the cooldown of Rapid Fire, and it generates 2 charges of aim shot. So now, after this Wailing Arrow, we're going to aim shot again at 14 through 16 globals. And then we're going to Rapid Fire at 15 through 17 globals. And then we're going to aim shot again at 16 through 18 globals. And then, finally, we get to press True Shot, our DPS damage cooldown. Because this means we generate aim shot and rapid fires faster, so we want to get those on cooldown. So maybe like here is like the earliest we could press True Shot or something. Or maybe here. True Shot. But we're waiting 13 to 15 globals in the boss before we're able to do that. So let's look at this list in its entirety, right? Like, here's the earliest possible point where we get to press our DPS cooldown. Meanwhile, it doesn't necessarily matter the exact order, but we have to press basically all this other stuff. Oh, and because we did Steady Shot on the second and third global of the fight, actually it's 1 and 2, sorry. So, how many globals later is it that we need to refresh Steady Shot? Do we know? It's somewhere down here in this range. So we probably need to go steady, and maybe another aimed in here, just to prevent that from capping. Who knows? You know? So, like, maybe these numbers are even more. But let's say it's something like this. We want to press steadies before we go into our True Shot window, too. And, like, right now, so that's what it looks like in Dragonflight, okay? Here's what it looks like in Shadowlands. We go pre-pull, double tap. We go pre-pull, aimed. Actually, right now, we go pre-pull, double steady. Then we go True Shot. That's the list currently in Shadowlands. And this is the list in Dragonflight. And I think this list is a lot less fun than this list, right? Now maybe you don't necessarily need to press all of these things outside of True Shot. But the problem is, a lot of these buttons are not aim shot and rapid fire. And what you want to be pressing during True Shot is aim shot and rapid fire. Because that's what True Shot gives you, is reduced cooldown on those abilities. So you have to be casting them so that you're spending them and not capping on the charges that you're generating from True Shot. It's essentially generating aimed shots and rapid fires. So if you're not spending them, you're going to be capping out and losing on effective casts of those. So either you're delaying your True Shot super long into the fight, and maybe this messes up the timers of everything else, or you're capping and losing out on aim shot and rapid fire charges because you're maybe casting True Shot before Wailing Arrow, which is generating those back for you, wasting the cooldown reduction of True Shot. Right? Maybe you skip entirely in the opening. you skip the precise shot stacks. Maybe you never get a kill shot proc. Maybe you don't get a surging shot proc. Maybe you still don't even get a lock and load proc, right? Let's say maybe we're on pure single target. We can get rid of volley. We know we have Serpent Sting, right? So, or Serpent Stalker's Trickery. We're going pure single target now. But like still in this world, we're still in something like this world, where we're up at like number 6, 7, 8, probably 9 globals. Whereas on in Shadowlands, it's global number 2, right? We've gone from 2 globals to 9. Maybe, at best. And, yeah, this kind of needs addressing. So, like, this is a cool new talent in Isolation. Like, it's mostly probably for AoE. Maybe, who knows? You know, maybe we go something like this. It's certainly possible that we take it on single target, though. And my issue is the play pattern of this with the way the spec works is just fundamentally just, like, not fun and very clunky and awkward. We have so many things that are just buttons we need to get on cooldown, and we can't realistically press these. Remember when I had that whole huge list? Remember, Barrage also, first of all, is a channeled 3-second cast, so Barrage is actually Barrage, because it effectively takes 2 globals, but then it's also only a 20-second cooldown, so then also, imagine this was global number 3, and then we're getting up to these high numbers of globals later, so then at the end we might Barrage again, and then Wailing, and then aimed, you know, then True Shot, aimed, RF, aimed, something like that, right? So there's the problem of not only will you maybe press this once before your True Shot button, you might end up having to press it twice before your True Shot button, and like weird nonsense like that. And so this seems wonky. And I like this talent in Isolation. The problem is not this talent in Isolation. The problem is this is going in the opposite direction for what the spec needs right now. The spec needs ways that we can, for example, simply press fewer buttons, but get more of these effects off on cooldown. So, something like firing a Chakram also fires Explosive Shot if that is off cooldown. Or Barrage puts a Steel Trap underneath the first target it hits. Or like, I don't even know, Wailing Arrow fires a Chakram which fires an Explosive Shot. Like, we need to combine these buttons into, ideally, as many of them firing off of aimed, rapid fire, and steady shots as possible, and or arcane shots, because remember we also had like 2 to 4 to maybe +2, you know, +1 to 2 extra if you're getting these lower aim shot casts because you're getting a barrage in again or something like that. Getting all these extra precise shot stacks that we're currently completely wasting, not spending. We're just pretending we ignore those, which I can tell you as a player does not feel good. It does not feel fun to say the one thing of my spec, the ability that my spec is built around is supposed to generate me precise shot charges. That's literally like one of the first talents that I take in almost every tree possible. And then to play the spec properly, I just ignore it, even though I'm generating like 4, 6, 8 stacks of these things. I'm just never pressing Arcane Shot and never spending it. Right? Why is this a build around feature if I'm never going to use it? In which case, I'm taking points out of it, and then I'm just giving myself more buttons instead, right? How is this helpful? Seems weird. Seems backwards. Seems wonky. Seems not ideal. And then I have stuff like this, which is Arcane and multi-shot damage, but I'm never pressing that. And then I have stuff like this, which is Arcane and Chimera shot stuff, but I want to get rapid fire. So I have to waste a talent point to get something that I'm never casting to get the button that I actually want to cast. That seems wrong. That seems weird, right? And then what's this doing in the middle of the tree? So then we go down here and we get all this stuff. And then, whoopsie, we have too many buttons again. And then what do? We're in this weird scenario, right? So something like this needs to be looked at. The ideas for talents on their own are cool, and they're fine. The problem is we need to remember that this is the actual play pattern that we're going to be experiencing in Dragonflight right now. And it needs to be a lot closer to this. You know, maybe I'm fine with adding in Chakram, Wailing Arrow, Explosive, Volley. You know, just like a few is fine. This is like 6 or something, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure, that's cool. I can deal with like 5. It's when we're going too much above 5 and we're into like 7, 8, 9, 15, 20 territory. That's when we're getting to be like, this is super excessive. And we're currently a lot closer to the 15 to 20 mark than we are to like the 5 mark. All right, that's the main feedback I wanted to give here, just in isolation. I have some other feedback for the tree. I've made my own custom tree and things like that that I could mention if I wanted to, but this is good enough for now.